Welcome to Immortal Works Flash Fiction Friday, Episode 48, Wings in the Night, by David J. West. A fragment of the forthcoming Walking Through Walls. When it's your last meal, you savor it. Take Callus Duro, for example. He's savoring it. Most condemned men request simple fare, something that takes them back to the beginning, back to their childhood. The flavor and scent reminds them of how it all began, because it's about to end with a length of squeezing rope. And that's if your neck isn't broke. The last meal is comfort food for a damned soul who needs to remember one last sunset and one last sunrise before their own dingy, worthless light is snuffed out. Not Callus, though. He's innocent and has no guilty conscience. He enjoys the bouquet of the wine and the aroma of a well-seasoned and bloody cut of beef. Takes his time. There is no hurry. The executioners can wait. After all, he's eating his final request. Some decencies will be observed, even in Blackwater prison. They must keep up appearances and sacred traditions. Doesn't matter how terribly guilty or innocent you are, they'll wait. It isn't like he's still with the other pack of villains in the mess hall, fighting for each bowl of gruel and moldy bread, wolfing anything down he can get like a ravenous beast. No, my friend, he's been invited to the dancing floor, to waltz his last two-step with the gallows pole. Only then will he be a dead man instead of simply a soul-stealing number. Here he is, prisoner 42 for another 15 minutes, if he eats slowly. After that, he gets his name back. A shallow grave in the pauper cemetery, and wooden marker that will last perhaps 20 years in Tolburn's lovely rainy weather. Take your time, I say. Relish these last few moments of delectable offerings. It's been a long time since you've eaten anything so fine. How long has it been? 3 years now? My friend, who would have expected you to last? Certainly not those that sent you here. No one lasts this long in Blackwater. He shouldn't have lasted this long. 3 years. Who lasts 3 years? No one. But they'll get theirs. Take your time. Enjoy the meal. Lick the savory scraps from the edge of your long matted beard. Would your own mother recognize you? Not likely. 3 years can turn a man into a monster no matter how innocent he was before. No one stays innocent inside Blackwater. Killing other prisoners is compulsory, encouraged and rewarded. But murder a brutalizing guard and it's off to the dancing floor. To survive, you have to keep a sense of humor about it. Go a little mad. Surely Callus offended the vengeful gods somewhere for all the misfortune that has been visited upon him these last 3 years. But on the flip side, the bastard just won't die. Folk the realm over say that he has been blessed to the point of nigh invulnerability. Sure, he gets a beating. I've seen him cut, but he just can't die. As I've said before, with every blessing comes a curse. And in Callus's case, it is an absolute fact. So many have tried to kill him, and yet he survives. Take a bite, my friend. If the opportunity came, would he start over? Sure he would. If the opportunity came. Very last slice. Come, opportunity, come. And the last drop of wine. Blast! Didn't remember to take his time and relish the meal. It's gone. Steps coming down the corridor. Jailers will be here soon. He should have savored this longer. Talking to yourself again, 42? You nutter. Looks like you're finished. About time, too. Drawled the jailer through the door slit. A clink, a groan, and the rusted door swings open. The jailers have their clubs ready to strike. Come on out, 42. Captain Smithson doesn't have all night, and neither do we. Callus remained motionless, facing the wall. His long, unkempt hair unfurled down his back. He looked like one of the crazed holy men from the East. Turn around and face us so we know you aren't going to try something stupid. He stayed still as chiseled marble. Now I mean it. We aren't going to take any trouble from you. Callus wheeled about, facing them, eyes leering. He straightened with sudden grin, asking, "Time already?" "Almost brained you for that," mumbled the jailer. "Don't need these games from you," said the other. "Folk have seen watchers about. Bad luck." "Ain't no watchers," said Callus. "Old wives' tales." "Yes, there is. Talking about 'em invites 'em," responded the jailer. "Summons 'em up from the bowels of the underworld." "Well, then I promise to not call upon any of these watchers," said Callus. "It is watchers, isn't it?" "Didn't I just tell you to not say that? It summons 'em. It's not something you want showing up to your hanging. What if their demons come to collect your soul?" said the other. Callus chuckles. "Think it's funny? They'll steal your soul." "Suppose I'd be upset being summoned out of the fiery depths of the underworld every time some poor sap said, 'Watcher.'" "Stop saying that," blustered the jailer. "Oh, I get it. You're saying those big gray men with wings are watchers. Got it. Watchers. We don't want to summon the watchers. I won't say watchers anymore because it summons the watchers," responded Callus. The man simply doesn't know what fear is, perhaps because he has already experienced everything that ever did scare him. The jailer cracked him over the head with his baton. "Get moving, 42. We've wasted enough time letting you eat your final meal." "You didn't have to watch me the whole time. You could have just—" His comment was cut off with a blow to his back by the first jailer. "Shut it." They marched him up the stone steps and into a high-walled courtyard. Faces and hands of prisoners crowded out the barred windows like maggots from a wound. Guards above on the parapet walls held the poleaxes and crossbows. All of them looked about uneasy in the rippling red gold of the setting sun, until it slipped and was gone. This was as close to fresh air as any of the prisoners had ever experienced. "Superstitious fools," laughed Callus. "Come, watchers, help an innocent man out." Again a club was brought against his head. "That's enough of that, Levon," spoke an authoritative man. His gold and purple striped jacket and fancy rotund hat perched upon his head are the sign of the captain of Blackwater Prison. That and the ornamental gold chain of keys around his neck. A man like Captain Smithson gets paid a lot to keep after villains. You might even say he's paid a criminal amount. "We are about to hang him. Let him go to the grave with naught but a bruise about his neck. His debt shall be paid. Don't you think, 42? You have been a guest far longer than most." Callus smirked and said, "I have watched, as innocent men are prone to do, and a reckoning will come. Just watch." "Calling upon figments of imagination will do you no good. Have you any last confessions?" asked Smithson. "Normal men always wish to clear their conscience." "No such thing as normal," responded Callus. "Bind his hands," ordered Smithson. The jailer smiled through crooked teeth and tied Callus's hands behind his back. Once finished, he shoved Callus toward the gallows. Elevated to twice the height of a man, the gallows allowed for even the tallest of men to dangle and kick once the trap door swung open. Everyone kicks and jerks convulsively, hence the name, the dancing floor. "Any final words, you rogue?" muttered the jailer. A nauseating reek of sulfur blistered the senses as a mist rolled in off the river just beyond the walls. Callus opened his mouth to respond sarcastically to him, but nothing came out. He simply gazed at the dancing floor. "Afraid now? Death does such things to most men," said Smithson. Then he noticed everyone was staring at the gallows. Perched atop the gibbet, a huge gray shape with glowing red eyes brooded. Fear bit deep into near every man's soul. The red eyes never blinked, and no sound escaped, not that any sort of mouth could be seen. The odious stench of sulfur and brimstone stung the nostrils of every man. The whole body rocked to and fro as there didn't appear to be a neck. The thing looked upon the men from left to right and then back again. It had no arms but grim, bat-like wings that it stretched forth, and with the gibbet giving an awful creak, the thing lifted into the air and could no longer be seen against the bleak stars. Everyone looked skyward. The prisoners drew their arms from the barred windows, their former shouts and curses now silent. "What do we do, Captain?" asked the jailer. Composing himself, Smithson said, "Hang him! We saw nothing but night delusions." The nervous jailers peered about warily and grudgingly took Callus up to the dancing floor. The executioner took hold of the unhallowed noose and cinched it about Callus's neck. Once secured, the jailers could not wait to get off the dancing floor. Typically, several stayed to watch the hanged man dance, but not this time. The watcher had unnerved everyone. The executioner looked to Smithson, who gave a nod. The switch was pulled. The dancing floor dropped. Callus felt open space beneath his feet. This was the black end, shining on all tomorrows, new wisdom on the final journey to be gained at last. The gibbet creaked, cracked, and broke. The rope snapped, and Callus was free upon the ground. Callus did a short backwards leap that freed the hands bound behind his back to now be hands bound in front. He yanked the noose free, saying, "Praise the watchers for their timely favors." Charging a stunned jailer, he headbutted the man and ran his bindings against the poleaxe blade. The jailers recovered their shock and charged after him. Bolting up the steps leading to the parapet, he knocked a guardsman off to crash more than a dozen feet to the cobbles, and then he was gazing over the wall at the Blackwater River. It was a long way down. Flickering lights from the city of Tolburn beckoned. Wrists were still coiled with stout rope, but his hands were free enough to let him swim, and death at the jailer's hands was a sure thing in comparison to the inviting dark waters. He leapt over the side of the prison walls and vanished into Stygian black. Crossbow bolts loosed into the gloom, and even torches were thrown into the river in the vain hope of illuminating the fleeing prisoner. "No way he survives that," said the jailer, glancing skyward for the watcher. Smithson snarled, "Just find his body. No one escapes Blackwater." Thanks for listening. If you have a submission, please send it to submissions@immortal-works.com.